Have you ever wondered why we rarely hear about men being victims of domestic abuse? Our society has constructed a narrative that often shrouds the grim reality of male victims in domestic abuse cases. We're conditioned to perceive strength and invulnerability as inherent traits of masculinity, creating a barrier that discourages men from revealing their experiences of abuse. It's a pressure cooker situation, where societal norms and stereotypes act as a lid, sealing in the stories of countless men suffering in silence. The stigma attached to men sharing experiences of abuse, especially when the abuser is a woman, is immense. It's an unseen struggle, a battle fought behind closed doors, where the victims are often left voiceless. But every now and then, a brave soul steps forward to shatter these misconceptions, to challenge the status quo, and to give a voice to the silent. The story of John Doe, a man who suffered 20 years of abuse from his wife, shatters these stereotypes. What does 2 decades of living in fear look like for a man? Picture this. John, a man of strength and resilience, trapped in a cycle of abuse, a tormenting reality hidden behind closed doors. His abuser, not a stranger but his wife, the person he pledged to share his life with. For 20 long years, John faced an array of abuses. Physical abuse, often downplayed, was a recurring nightmare. Broken bones and bruises became part of his everyday life, the physical pain a stark reminder of the torment he endured. But the abuse wasn't just physical. It was emotional and psychological too, each form equally damaging. Words, they say, can't break bones, but they can break a person. And for John, his wife's words were weapons, cutting deeper than any knife. She belittled him, insulted him, and undermined his worth, leaving deep emotional scars. The psychological abuse was perhaps the most insidious. Gaslighting, manipulation, and control were her tools of choice. She made him question his sanity, his reality. She isolated him from friends and family, cutting off his support system and leaving him to question his worth, his identity. This abuse had profound effects on John's life. His mental health deteriorated. Anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder became his constant companions. His social life, once vibrant and fulfilling, became non-existent as he was increasingly isolated. His professional life, too, took a hit. The constant stress and anxiety affected his performance, his relationships with colleagues strained as he battled his hidden demons. John's story is a chilling one, a stark reminder of the unseen side of domestic abuse. But it's also a story of resilience, of survival against all odds. John lived in fear for 20 years, but he managed to break free, to reclaim his life from the clutches of abuse. John's story is not just a tale of survival, but also a testimony of the unseen side of domestic abuse. A reminder that abuse can happen to anyone, regardless of gender, and a call to action for us all to be more aware, more understanding, and more supportive of victims. So, how did John manage to break free from this cycle of abuse? It all began with John acknowledging the reality of his situation. He reached out, seeking help from friends and family. But the stigma associated with male victims of domestic abuse made the process incredibly difficult. Despite the challenges and the fear of judgment, John persisted. He began attending support group meetings, providing him with a safe space to share his experiences and gain strength from others who had walked a similar path. John also sought professional help, engaging with therapists who specialized in trauma and abuse. These steps were critical in helping him understand that he was not alone, and more importantly, not at fault. It was through this network of support and the resources available to him that John was able to finally escape his abusive situation. John's journey towards freedom was not easy, but it was a necessary fight for his life. What lessons can we learn from John's story? That's the question we're left with after hearing about his chilling 20-year ordeal. John's story is a stark reminder of the hidden nightmares many face, even in places they should feel safe. It's a call to action, urging us to reconsider our societal norms and stereotypes, particularly those surrounding male victims of domestic abuse. Men, like women, can be victims too, yet they often suffer in silence, shackled by societal expectations of masculinity. It's essential that we dismantle these stereotypes and foster an environment where men feel comfortable sharing their experiences and seeking help. We must strive to create safe spaces, both physically and emotionally, for men to voice their struggles without fear of ridicule or disbelief. John's story, as chilling as it is, serves as a stark reminder that domestic abuse knows no gender. It's time we start acknowledging and addressing this unspoken truth.